Hello, thank you for listening in to this short presentation that I'm going to deliver today on IEMA, green jobs and green skills. My name is Kirsty Peck. I'm Education Engagement Officer at IEMA, and I've also just popped my email address on the screen there. I will show it again at the end. I know there's not any opportunity for us to do kind of a live Q&A, so if you do have any questions following my presentation and what I'm going to talk about today, then please do just send me an email and be more than happy to get back to you. So I'm going to cover a few things today, mainly about IEMA and what we do at IEMA, but also just to give you a bit of insight into green jobs and skills and what's happening within this profession, and then also how you can get involved. So I'll start off with what IEMA is. This might be something that you're not too familiar with. You might not have heard much about us before. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page, I'll do quite a brief overview of who we are and what we do. So IEMA stands for the Institute of Environmental Management and Assessment. We typically just go by our acronym IEMA. It's just a bit of a mouthful if you say the full thing. But also we don't just solely work in environmental management anymore. We work in all areas within the environment and sustainability. And we are a professional membership body for everybody who's working, studying, or interested in the environment and sustainability. If you're not familiar with kind of professional membership bodies as a whole, then you kind of get professional membership organizations for probably most professions, whether that be marketing, PR, accountancy, whatever it might be, there will likely be a professional membership organization that represents that sector or that profession. And membership organizations will support their members, they will represent their members, and they will also advocate for that profession. So at IEMA, we provide our individual members with resources to help them with their career, knowledge and insight opportunities so that they can continue to learn within their profession, community and networking opportunities, which can be really important within this profession. Often, you could be the only environment or sustainability person working within your organization, or you're working in a small team, and it can be really important to help you build those connections outside of your workplace. We do also offer formal training and qualifications. So for people maybe who don't have a formal educational background within this space, we can offer training courses and support for those people to be able to upskill. And then lastly, what a lot of people look for within a professional membership organization is that professional recognition that you get, and also the path then through to chartership. So IEMA membership is quite widely recognized by employers within this profession. So saying that you're a member of IEMA can be quite a good thing. It can help out on your job applications and it can show your employer that you are um, very passionate about your profession, you're enthusiastic, and you've already got your IEMA membership. In terms of chartership, you can become a chartered environmentalist, and that can happen through IEMA. So once you kind of move your way through the membership grades and get to a place where you're kind of advanced enough, you can then apply for your chartership. And again, that's a really good status to get to, and something that a lot of people aim for. So why why would people join IEMA? What are the membership benefits and what could you kind of get from it? Um, the kind of first thing that most people look for is being able to expand their knowledge and being able to learn about what's happening within the profession and learn from other professionals who might be working on similar issues or similar projects. So we have quite a lot of webinars that will really, really help to um, advance your knowledge. So first of all, we have webinars every week on different topics within the environment or sustainability, whether that be on impact assessment, whether that be on circular economy or biodiversity net gain. There's loads of different areas that we'll talk about, and that can really help you to learn um, from professionals and be able to ask questions and engage with the agenda and what's happening. I'll mention this later about keeping up to date, but keeping up to date within this profession is really, really key. So we do have our own membership magazine called Transform, and that can really help you to stay up to date with the news, the trends, the changing legislation, and it's quite a fast-paced environment, so being able to keep up to date is really important. I also mentioned in the previous slide that networking is very important. Um, Not only just because you could be working in a small team, but also you might want to expand outside of kind of the area that you're currently working in. or you might simply not know people working within this profession. So IEMA gives you lots of opportunities to engage with other professionals who are working in this space. So if you're not yet working within environmental sustainability and you would like to, but you don't know how to get started or you don't know who to get in touch with, the IEMA membership base can be really helpful for that. And I know that firsthand because that's what helped me and that's how I got started within this space. I went along to an IEMA event, which was actually in Edinburgh. It's just a very casual networking event, and I started to meet so many people who were working in jobs that I didn't even know about or that I didn't understand. And I was able to ask people questions about what they did and how that related to the green agenda and how they got into that job and why it was important, what key skills did they need. And I found that really helpful, and it really got me started and to where I am today, really. Networking can be quite a scary term, and I know a lot of people don't feel very comfortable with it. But really, like a lot of these events are very casual. It's just like meeting a group of people, a group of friends in the pub or whatever. It's very casual. It's not always formal networking. It's just a good opportunity to kind of reach out and chat to people and start building up your connections. We host quite a lot of events, whether them be online or face to face. Again, like I mentioned in networking and also, in the kind of webinars aspect as well, it's a really good opportunity to learn and connect with people as well within this space. So there might be more casual networking events, they might be coffee morning events, they might just be, a kind of webinar and then an opportunity to chat. So there's a whole range of different events and lots of opportunities to get involved. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the Green Careers Hub as well later, but the Green Careers Hub is a new resource that had launched by IEMA, which is a separate website and a space for you to learn all about careers within the environment and sustainability space. So if you're not yet sure where to go, you don't know what the career paths look like, you don't know what skills are important, then it's definitely a really worthwhile resource to look out for. So why are green jobs and green skills important? Well, simply without green skills and green jobs, we won't meet our net zero and wider environmental goals. The UK has committed to net zero by 2050 alongside many other countries and also organisations who have similar goals. But we can't reach that without having a skilled workforce and a workforce where all jobs are greener. Every single role and every single person within an organisation should have good environmental knowledge and green skills. Um, and this will play a crucial role in shaping how organizations transform their businesses and unlock growth and green opportunities within this sector. So it is very important that we have people thinking about not only, what kind of general green career that they could go in, but if they're not necessarily interested in being a sustainability consultant or something along those lines, if you're interested in being a marketer, how can you do that in a green way and making sure that everybody feels inspired to make a change and that everybody knows how they can make a difference? So there's a huge emphasis here on green jobs delivery and ensuring that entire workforces are trained and skilled to be able to support our transition. Otherwise, we simply won't achieve it. So we're trying to transform to this green economy, but what change will that have? What impact will that have on skills and jobs? So last year, IEMA delivered a joint report with Deloitte, all about green workforce transformation, green jobs, and green skills. That is downloadable and accessible from our IEMA website. So if you are interested in reading the full report, then go and have a look. But from that, we found that it's anticipated that all jobs will need to be greener, as I have just mentioned, and that this will likely present itself in 4 different shifts. So I'll just talk briefly through these now. So the first one is the expansion of skills and scope of existing specialist sustainability roles. So to be able to accelerate towards a green economy, and those activities that will come with that will result in a deeper expertise within sustainability professionals. So those working within those specialist sustainability roles will have an enhanced skill set and deeper understanding of the kind of science behind the changes that we're seeing. We'll also have an increased need for green skills in non-specialist roles. So like I just mentioned on the previous slide, we need to be mainstreaming the green economy within all different types of jobs and different parts of the workforce. So upskilling the existing workforce in all areas of the business to have a general understanding. In a similar way to how you could work in any type of role, but you need to have general health and safety understanding. We're expecting a kind of similar shift in terms of um, whole kind of entire workforce training to be able to understand the environment and sustainability challenges and how everybody in each individual role can make a difference and work towards organization goals. Um, we also need to transition entire workforces that currently work in unsustainable sectors. So, for example, people who are already working in high carbon or carbon intensive industries. And how do we transition all of those people into low carbon industries by retraining them and reskilling them, giving them a new skill set and moving them into a less uh, environmentally impactful career. Um, And the last one is the demand for green skills in new green sectors and organizations. So this green economy creates the need for unique work and worker requirements, which will create new jobs in new industries that we might not have seen before. So those are the general four shifts. The other thing that I think is important to mention, and I put it in that little box at the bottom if you if you can read it, although I think the text is a little bit small. Um, Although it's very important to ensure that the next generation of environment and sustainability professionals are passionate and enthusiastic, and I think we all know that a lot of young people are very keen and passionate on the environmental agenda. They want to learn more. It's being embedded more within, curriculum, and that's all great. But a lot of goals that we have for the environment are hitting certain goals by 2030. So something that we need to remember is that 80% of the 2030 workforce are already within the workforce today. So, what that means is that it's not about bringing new people in who have the skills, who are younger, who have just come out of university, just come out of school, just done an apprenticeship. It's not just about those people, it's about reskilling people who are already in the workforce, retraining them and giving them a new mindset, I suppose, so that they can have a new approach to their job and their role. All of these things are very important to think about. But it just means that there's a lot of opportunity, which I'll talk about next. So, a lot of people are always asking me, what can I do and how can I get involved in the green agenda? How can I be a part of this net zero transition? So, here are a few different kind of opportunities that you might be able to look into where we're going to see big growth. So the target skills and jobs support by sector. This is indicated by the government's net zero strategy. So the policies and proposals for decarbonising the UK economy will result in an estimated 190,000 jobs by 2025, which is not far away at all, and 440,000 by 2030. So there's so much opportunity for people to get involved um, in the green agenda, and I'm going to talk through a couple of these different categories. Obviously, there are loads more ways that you can get involved, and as I've just spoken about, it's not just about these specialist roles. It's also about generally greening the workforce. So if you are interested in accounting and finance, you can also look into those areas as well. But here's a bit of an indication. So power, that's quite an obvious one. So there'll be huge impacts to power networks, offshore wind, onshore wind, solar, power storage, all of that kind of stuff. So in terms of jobs supported by 2024, next year they're expecting 59,000, and by 2030 120,000. In terms of regions, Scotland's quite a big one for that. I know that there's a lot happening with renewable energy, particularly in Scotland, but there's lots of different areas and those regions are noted down there. Um, Also, in terms of fuel supply, hydrogen is going to be a big area. Aviation fuels, that's something that will provide quite a lot more jobs. 10,000 by 2030 and 19,000 by 2035. Um, and it's not just about people working in those jobs themselves. This is saying that in terms of upskilling, there'll be 40,000 people that need to be upskilled across the fuel supply chain in that time. A lot of investment necessary, and yeah. Moving on to industry, so carbon capture, utilization, and storage, another big one, 54,000 jobs by 2030. Significant investment needed in that as well. Um, Also, Northeast Scotland as another key area there. Heat and buildings. This is one that quite a lot of people are interested in. So, the impact of decarbonising public and private sector spending on energy efficiency measures, housing, heat, buildings, all of that kind of stuff. An interesting one for that is thinking about qualified heat pump installers. So, these will need to increase from around 3,000 to 35,000 within the next 7 years. So that's a big growth within that area. So if that's something that interests you, there's a lot of work to be done in that area. So natural resources, waste, fluorinated gases, um, lots of different areas to talk about there. Slightly fewer jobs, but still quite a lot in terms of growth. The last one, mobility, so the impact of the more automotive transformation, rail decarbonisation, again, quite an area that quite a lot of people seem to be interested in, and a lot of jobs in those areas. So jobs by 2024, 22,000, 74,000 by 2030, and 71 by 2050. Again, huge investment needed in that in terms of the electric vehicles. Um, and so a lot of jobs in those spaces. So you'll see from this that there's just a lot of opportunity for you to get involved. So if you are interested in supporting the net zero goals, there's definitely a lot of research that you can do in this if you want to think about your next career steps and how you can get involved. So in terms of how are IEMA supporting this transition and how are we getting involved? I did mention a little bit earlier that we have developed the Green Careers Hub to allow people access to resources and information that might relate to their current skills, future skills, their knowledge and experience. So if you don't know yet where to go with your career and you're still not really sure how you might fit into this um, transition and into this space, definitely have a look at the Green Careers Hub. So on there, you'll be able to find career profiles. So if you don't know what an environmental consultant does and what that means, we have pages on that. We have information on salary progression, key skills, what you might get up to in a typical day of that job, how can you get there, educational routes. All of that information is on there. So if like I was when I left university, just feel a little bit lost and you're not sure where to go, have a look at those career profiles. We also have member case studies. So if you're a little bit nosy like me and you like to kind of see how people got into their jobs, what they do, the inspiration behind their career, there's loads of information on the careers on the case studies as well. We also have sector information. So if you're interested in a particular sector, you can go and have a look at the key skills and what's required in those key sectors and just have a bit of a read really about um, kind of careers that might be in that space. There's also information on learning, upskilling, educational pathways, the importance of volunteering, mentoring, and all of those bits and pieces and how they can support your career journey as well. And generally, just green workforce transformation is probably a little bit more helpful for businesses as a whole rather than individuals, but definitely loads of information on there for you to look at. So we've supported that Green Careers Hub and we've created that with lots of different partners. But generally through IEMA membership and what we do as an organisation, we're supporting this transition in other ways through inspiring our members, educating our members, providing training courses to be able to support this green workforce transformation. So you might still be thinking, but how can I get involved? What can I do? How can I get started with this journey? So I've kind of laid out some hints and tips on things that I think are um, useful things to consider and things that might help you get started on this journey. So the first thing, and people will say this all the time, is do your research. I can't tell you what job you want to do. Um, or what career you might be interested in. There's so many opportunities out there, like I've outlined throughout this presentation, and ways that you can get involved in different careers that you can look into, not just environmental ones, but anything, and try and make that a green role. So there's loads of different things that you can do, but do some research. Have a look through resources like the Green Careers Hub. Have a Google search. Look at different companies that you think you might be interested in working for and the projects that they're working on and how you think you might be able to support that. What are you passionate about? What do you find yourself interested in? And just spend a little bit of time thinking about that and reflecting on things that are important to you. And also think about what are your key skills? If they don't align with the job, but you think, if you think, oh, I must be an environmental consultant because that's what I think people do within this space, but your skills don't necessarily align with that. Have a think about what your key skills are. Are you a good communicator? Could you be working in marketing and PR, and maybe think about how you can be communicating this climate science to somebody else rather than just reading reports and doing legislative work. Think about your key skills and how you can align those to your future job. LinkedIn is a really important space for people within this profession. And I don't know what it's like really for other professions, but it is something that's used quite a lot by our members, by people that I work with. So I would recommend setting up a LinkedIn profile if you don't have one. Create a strong LinkedIn profile, follow relevant companies, profiles, people, and stay up to date with them. You can learn a lot from LinkedIn. You don't have to be doing all your research on Google. You can have a look on LinkedIn, read through people's posts, read through the articles, things that people are linking. It's a really brilliant way of being able to learn from other people. What are other people engaging in? What are they talking about? How can you join into that conversation? Um, I would really, really recommend having a look at LinkedIn if you haven't yet got a profile. The other thing I would say about LinkedIn is that it can be very important when you're applying for jobs. If you're kind of not at that stage yet, but you're looking at applying for jobs, definitely create your LinkedIn profile and make sure that you have all of your work and experiences, your passions um, outlined on there. Because a lot of the time, when you apply for a job, you can really only put forward a 1 or 2 page CV, which isn't always long enough to be able to get your personality across and get everything across that you want to. So most recruiters will look for your LinkedIn anyway, and they'll want to have a good look through to be able to understand who you are as a person. So if you can really let that shine through on LinkedIn, it can really help in your career kind of progression. It's really just an extension of your CV in some ways, so you can fit a lot more on there and you can really show people who you are, what you're about, what you're interested in, and what you're passionate about. In terms of um, making connections on LinkedIn, my advice for you would be, connect with people. If you think that you have relevant interests or you've met somebody at an event, just reach out to them, connect with them. And my tip on that would be if you are reaching out to somebody, maybe send them a little message with it and say, I met you at this event, or I heard you on this webinar, or I saw your post on such and such and I found it really interesting. Please, can we connect? It just helps to create a little bit more of a relationship with that person so that if you ever, want to reach out to them again, they have that in their minds. Now, I have mentioned before about staying up to date, but this is an ever-changing environment. There's stuff happening all the time. There's new best practices coming out. There's new ways of thinking about things, and it can be very difficult to stay on top of it when you've got lots of other things to be doing. But try and stay on top of it as much as you can. Sign up to news alerts, get newsletters through in your inbox, and just have a little read through every now and then, um, and make sure that you're kind of staying up to date a little bit. It can also be very important to, to have a bit of that background when you're going and speaking to people at networking events or if you have interviews. It just shows that you are interested, you're engaging with the agenda, and you have a little bit of something to talk about as well. Also, think about joining a professional membership body like IEMA. It doesn't have to be IEMA, but for whatever space that you want to work in, have a look to see if there's a relevant professional membership body because they are really, really helpful for helping you understand more about career pathways and your possible career journey. They can give you that recognition that you need. They can help you learn about areas that you might not know about, and they can really just expand your mind and expand your opportunities. So definitely have a look into it. Um, Lastly, in terms of networking, try and invest a bit of time in networking. Networking isn't all about, you know, stuffy events and, speaking to lots of professional people. Networking can just be about expanding your own circle and learning from different people who have different experiences, being able to ask questions of people, finding out what other people do. And you never really know, where these kind of conversations can lead. Um, in this space particularly, it's really important to be able to share knowledge and share understandings, share learnings from things. We don't all want to make the same mistakes over and over again. So if somebody else has done a project that you are kind of interested in and you might be doing, ask them about it or ask them about their work. And it can really help you to get started within this career and help you really progress and grow. Lastly, I'll just talk a little bit about some key resources and places that you might be able to look for support and information. So I have mentioned quite a few times the Green Careers Hub, but please go and have a look at it because I think it will be really helpful if you're starting to think about um, different career routes and career journeys and how you can get involved with the agenda and what it all means to be a part of it. So please go and have a look on that if you're interested. You might also be like me and you might struggle with all the jargon and all the terminology that people are using. What is biodiversity net gain? What does net zero really mean? What do all these different terms mean? There is a lot of jargon and a lot of phrases that are used within this space that aren't always clearly defined. On the Green Careers Hub, we have a jargon buster where you can go and have a look and look up what all these terms mean and how they relate to different things. So if you get a bit confused about all that kind of stuff like I do, or if you're looking through an article or a job description and there's things that you don't necessarily understand, go and have a look on there because I think that will be a really helpful tool for you. The IEMA Futures Network. Now, I haven't mentioned this, but this is a free network within IEMA. So once you're an IEMA member, you can join the IEMA Futures Network. This is a group of people who are also aspiring sustainability professionals. They might be students, graduates, early career professionals, career changers, but generally just people who are interested in this space and wanting to learn. And IEMA Futures host events, either online or in person. They host coffee mornings, webinars, networking events, and an opportunity for you to engage with the sustainability agenda, maybe at a less kind of intimidating level. They're generally all entry level people. It's all it's a space for people to chat and connect with no judgment. Doesn't matter what you know or how much you know. It's an open conversation to have with people who are in a similar situation with you. So if you do end up joining IEMA and wanting to be a part of it, then have a look at the IEMA Futures Network and try and get involved if you can. It's a really nice space to be able to learn. And in fact, that's how I started to get involved with IEMA. I first got involved with the Futures Network and I made lots of friends through it. I learned a lot through it. And it really just supported my own journey. And again, this is a kind of member only resource through IEMA, but the Transform magazine. It's our membership magazine. It provides really regular news updates about the profession. There is a physical copy that you can get sent to you, or you can look at the online one. And you can really learn from there about what's happening, what are people talking about, what are people's views on different things, and what does it mean. Um, and it can just be a really nice way to stay up to date and to learn. And as I mentioned, that is a really important part of being involved within this space. So I think that's probably it from me. Thank you for listening to me today. I hope you've found something that you can take away and will find useful within your journey when you're looking at future careers in this space or starting to think about how you might fit into this agenda. As I mentioned, my name is Kirsty. My email address is on there, so it's k.peck@iema.net. I've also just listed the IEMA membership team email address. If you have any really specific membership queries, then you can get in touch with them. But as always, all the information is on the website anyway, and the contact details of the membership team is on there. So feel free to get in touch with them or to get in touch with me if you have any follow-up questions. But my last kind of comments would be to enjoy the journey within this space. It can be quite a difficult um, space to get involved in and to kind of not feel too bogged down by. There's a lot of negative news all the time. But the upside of that is that there's a lot of opportunity to get involved and there's a lot of opportunity to make a difference. So please do get involved in any way that you can, whether that be a specific environmental role or just thinking about how you can make your own life and your own future career a little bit more green. Um, and yes, make the most of any opportunities that come your way, whether that be volunteering, networking opportunities, or anything that you can do to kind of further your knowledge and understanding within this space and deepen your connections with people working in this area. It's a really nice space to be involved with in terms of the people and how helpful they are and willing to give their time and support to everybody. So definitely get involved, have a think about IEMA membership and if that might be something that can support your goals. Have a look at the Green Careers Hub, and get in touch with me if you have anything else that you want to speak about. But I hope you have enjoyed your event and have enjoyed my presentation, and thank you for listening.